Now let's move forward. What are the things you need to now become a product designer? Nkechi, your mic is giving me a feedback. Do you mind muting? Thank you very much, dear. So the tools you need, and many times people don't tell you this, but I'll give you a very, very point blank, truthful thing, right? Product design, like every tech field, requires some certain things from you. A very good internet connectivity is very needed because you're going to be working with a lot of images. You'll be streaming a lot of websites. You'll be going to different pages. In fact, let me give you, I'll show you some studying things so you understand. We even try out one simple example, right? You'll be doing a lot of things on the internet. So you need to have a very good internet speed, at least something that can allow you soft pages easily. Two, you have to have a very good working environment because you don't want noise all the time. You want a place where you can think, sanity. You want a place where you can focus. So you need to have an environment that makes you think, an environment that encourages you to think and be creative. Some people even go as much as creating a room or a desk space or go to the library to just do their product design work because they just want that quietness. Some people go to the field where there's nobody is around and sit down with their laptops and whatever and create awesome designs. So you need to separate yourself from the distractions to be a good product design person. It's part of the tools you need. Now, on the other side, you need to dedicate time. See, design, you need to dedicate time. Why? Because many times you do a design like 2-3 times before you get it right. Sometimes you might even do it 5 times before you get it right. So you have to dedicate time to do it right because you can't get it right at the first glance. It takes extreme experience to get the design right at the first glance. You have to try multiple things before you can get it at the first time. So you need to dedicate time. And the dedication of time is not just to design. You need to design. You need to learn based of the trends that are coming out every day. Because every day in design, you get a new trend. You get augmented reality, virtual reality. You get different things connect to where you're playing video games. Everything you do is a new trend. So you need to really dedicate time to learn, to practice, and to also improve yourself. You can't make it in this field if you don't dedicate time to these things. You need to dedicate time. You need to scrap some certain things that distract you a lot. If you know that, okay, fine, you watch Big Brother for like 8 hours, you can scrap it to down to maybe 2 hours because you need 6 hours. At least for your starting, you need to practice every single day of the week, or at least 3 times a week. Because that once you do that and becomes a part and parcel of you, you find out that you're creating designs and you're applying for interviews and you're not having issues because you already know what's working. But if you're doing it once in 2 months, once in 4 months, you're going to forget a lot of things. In fact, design is really volatile. It's not like coding that has a syntax where once you learn the syntax, you know how it works. It's like your mathematics. If 2x plus 2y equals this, you know y definitely is what the answer of x and y would be because obviously you solve for x and y. That's how coding is. But design, X and Y is not static. It's not something it's always in one place. It changes every day. The problem you see today might not be the problem tomorrow. So you have to keep learning. The way you solve a traffic problem in Lagos is not the same way you solve a traffic problem in Gombe, in Abia, or in Kaduna. There are 3 different states. Because Lagos, you have to first teach them the culture of obeying traffic rules and driving right before you can say you want to even start implementing it. But some other states, they might have bigger roads, which basically means people already know how the size of the roads are. So the way you solve problems in product designs will never be the same way you solve for others. But you might take some experiences from it, but they're never the same. Now, these are a list of design tools in the product design area. You have Sketch. You have a lot of people say Figma. Figma is one of the design tools we use. You have XD, Adobe XD. You have Adobe Photoshop, Adobe Illustrator. You have ProtoPie, Framer X. There are a lot of design tools. But the industry standard ones are the first 4 that I put there. Sketch, Figma, XD, and those are the 4 industry standards. So if you learn Figma, you learn XD, you learn Sketch, obviously you can kind of work in any design company in the entire world because those are the 3 industry standards. The rest are nice to haves. So if you know all these ones, then obviously you're a pro max designer, basically. But out of all this, I can say I know them. Yes, I know them, but not all perfectly. So you really need to understand. And again, I was trying to explain something. You need a very good system. Your computer needs to be fast. Why? Because as you're thinking certain things, you are faster than, if you're faster than the computer they are using to process and design, it will draw you back and it will make your work very slow. So that most of the times, that's why designers are always using high-end laptops or high-end systems. You can see here, I even put a specification. The minimum space you require for a good design laptop is 8 gig of RAM, of random access memory, right? You need to even have a graphics card on that system of 4 gig, because when you're using Figma and other tools like this, they take a lot of RAM memory. In fact, you can open one design file, your system will be drawing because your RAM is really low. When I'm talking about RAM, I'm not talking about RAM. I'm talking about the memory space on the system. So you need to even have a hard drive space of about 320 gig and a Core i5 or a Core i7 or a Core i9. So these are things you really need to have, because if you don't have it, it's going to make your work and your design journey really, really drag and to be dragging. So let's move forward. So there are a lot of design tools. So when you come to next gen, I could now teach you the ones that really affects the way you're going to work, the way you're going to think, and it's so obviously going to help you get a job in the future. Because a lot of tools have their pros and cons. There are some that make your work faster, and there's some that will make your work even harder. So you have to know which of them to use at certain times. Every tool has its advantage and disadvantage. And that's why I put them here. And if you know this popular guy, you understand what it means. So don't let the tools confuse you, right? But know the ones that helps you solve that particular problem you need to solve.